Get your horns up, and since it's Texas OU game day, get your corn dogs up. Welcome to the On Texas Football Tailgate Show. I'm Jeff Howe in the command center. Our team is live at the State Fair, Texas. Bobby Burton, Jerry Hamilton. I see CJ Vogel running around. Guys, nothing beats a Texas OU Saturday.
I've been out here, Jeff, since the beginning of the morning. We got here around 6:15 to set up, and I'm just telling you, it is nothing but Longhorns. On this side, we're at the Texas Tailgate near Gate 5. If you're coming out, please join us. But the news of the day, Jeff, is the line right now and Jerry's ugly corn dog.
I don't know what's going to happen at the game, but I know what's happening now. I'm going down. I'm going big.
Long story short, overnight, Oklahoma was a betting favorite in Vegas. And now, Jeff, Texas up to 1.5, 2.5 point favorite. It makes us wonder if something's going on with John Mateer and the quarterback situation with the Sooners.
Yeah, Bobby, the SEC availability report came out about 7 o'clock last night. John Mateer on that report for this game still listed as probable. The only name period on the injury report for Texas last night, CJ Baxter is out. Bobby, relatively speaking, this will be as healthy as Texas has been all year. What do you make of this roster, the mindset of the team? Bobby, just your 30,000-foot view as we sit here a few hours away from kickoff.
A little bit of a referendum on this 2025 season. I think that's where we stand right now, regardless of injury, regardless of who's out for either squad. And the reason I say that is because Texas is 3-2. The backs are up against the wall. They lose this one, all hopes of playoffs are gone. The rest of the season is nothing but, and it's not a negative, but nothing but trying to make a bowl game and trying to get better as a football team and football program. There's value in that. So I'm not dismissing it entirely, but let's be honest. Texas opened the season as the number one ranked team in the country. I did not think they were the number one ranked team in the country, but I certainly didn't think they would be out of playoff contention in week 6. And so I will just say this. I think it's a referendum on the 2025 season. Texas comes out and plays hard and wins. It's going to be a different thing. Hey, by the way, we also have Tony Hills with us here today. Tony's going to check in. Are you there? Look over there in the side. That's how he's acting today, Jeff. What do you think? Is it a referendum, both you guys, everybody, on this season right now?
Yeah, I mean, they're in a situation where they don't have any more giveaways, if that makes sense, right? Every game matters. They're in a playoff contention race right now. Every single game is playoff worthy. So they have to come out and they have to play like that every single week. There is no room for error because you've already kind of, wet the bed a little bit during the time before you got into SEC play with the Ohio State loss, and now with Florida with that loss, you don't have any more room. So they got to come out and they got to dominate. Period, point blank.
Jerry, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, look, I think what Florida did against Texas last week, they've been a terrible third down team all season. Terrible. And they came out and they hit 50% of third downs against Texas. Texas is going to have their best third down day of the year. But the only way to do that is if it's third and shorts and third and mediums. If it's anything close to 3rd and 11 like last week, it's not going to happen for this Texas offense because you're not going to be able to consistently drive the football. So Texas needs to mirror Florida last week to me, Tony.
Yep.
They need to come out with physicality.
Yep.
They need to establish the run better than they have to this point in the season. I know there's not Jaden Ball on the Texas side. And then they have to get to enough third and shorts and mediums and not get the pre-snap penalties and give themselves a chance. If they will do that, then I think Texas, there's a path to victory. If Texas is if they average 3rd and 8.5, 3rd and 9 today, it's going to be tough.
Well, the thing that can keep them in 3rd and short is utilizing the tight end.
Yep.
Let's use our safety blanket to pick up those 5, 6, 7 yards, right? And then let's go back and let's go back to the way that we used to play, man. Line them up in 12. Let's go big bully ball, man on man. Forget all the fancy movement and all of that stuff. It's you versus you, and let's go get those hard yards, the 3-4 yard gains. Because what tends to happen is as you continue to do what you're talking about, in the third and fourth quarter, defenses start to get lax because they've been leaned on so much. Texas is a big unit. If you can utilize their strength being a big unit, get some double teams up to backers, have that back punching in the hole, stop looking for, the big play. Just get the 3-4 yard gains. That's going to turn into a 5, 7, 10, 12, even 15, 20 yard breaks because of missed tackles. That's the way the game is played in the trenches.
All right, Bobby, let's go ahead and thank a couple of our sponsors real quick, and we'll start with our lead sponsor for the Tailgate Show. That's our friends at Hargrove Roofing. I want to say thank you very much to our friends over at Hargrove Roofing, with offices across Texas, including Austin, as well as Louisiana and Arkansas. Hargrove Roofing will take care of all of your roofing needs. Plus, they're Longhorn friendly with partners like former defensive tackle Stevie Lee. They're the most pro burnt orange roofing company out there. No one wants to turn their home over to a company they can't trust. So call Hargrove today for a free, no strings attached roof inspection. Just call 512-645-3202. Again, that's 512-645-3202. Hargrove Roofing, know who's on your roof.
Tecovas, anywhere worth going is worth going in good boots. Born in Texas in 2015, Tecovas are handcrafted with every stitch on point. Tecovas boots are made for a good time and a long time. I was wearing them yesterday afternoon, guys, around Dallas. I felt just at home. Tecovas makes it easy for anyone to find their favorite boot with all kinds of sizes and styles. Tecovas is simply the best boot around. I really like that they can be either daily boots or you can dress up in them. Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Texas football when you sign up for email and text alerts. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/Texas football. With Tecovas Best in the West guarantee, you get free returns and exchanges for 30 days. Tecovas.com/Texas football. See site for details. Point your toes west.
I had 4 people since I've been in Dallas walk up to me and say, Tecovas boots, love them. Just an extra plug for Tecovas. A lot of boot makers out there, but when people start walking up, say, here to Tecovas read, love my Tecovas, that's meaningful.
Guys, I want to expand on this, and this piggybacks off what Tony was saying a minute ago. Bobby, this is the said it as long as I can remember. This is the ultimate line of scrimmage game on the schedule for Texas. In the last 28 meetings between Texas and Oklahoma, 25 times the winner of the rushing yardage battle has won the game. From a physicality standpoint, guys, there is nowhere to hide in this game.
Guys. That's what we talk about. Jeff was saying that basically whoever wins the run game typically wins this game. Tony, question for you.
Yeah.
When you played at Texas, did Mack Brown bring that sort of thing up to the team, or was it more just implied?
No, it always started with us, right? The game starts and ends with us. Like, you have to understand, like, anytime you're building something, right? Think about when you're building a house, right? You can have the best roof in the world, you can have the best framework, but if the foundation isn't solid, the house falls. So what we understood as an offensive line is, like, if we want to get big plays, we want to have these big runs, these big passes, we have to block and protect. We got to give Vince or Colt time. We got to get the open spaces for Jamal, for Henry, whoever it was at that time. It was up to us to create that pathway. And the only way that we could do that is to be as physical and as violent and finish blocks. Like, you don't play to the whistle, right? And Casey Studdard was big on this. We don't play to the whistle. We play through the whistle, right? We're hustling because all we have is now. And I think that's the biggest thing, man. I don't know if it's the NIL era, Jerry, you and I was talking about this, but there was a certain hunger that a lot of guys had because there are situations that are off the field that they want to get their people out to. They want to get their families out of. And they know that if I handle my business at this level, I'll have an opportunity to get to the next level. Maybe it is the NIL level.
Yeah.
Who knows? But we got to find that love and that passion,
yes,
or whatever that intrinsic thing is within us to be able to say, you know what, today it stops. And that's all I want to see from the offensive line. Man, finish the blocks. Don't ease up. If they're moving, you're moving, right? Go chase a safety. Go chase a linebacker. Whatever it is, don't just be satisfied with getting your work done. Get your work done and go find more work. That's how you're going to get those explosive plays.
And Tony, look, Oklahoma hasn't run the football with the running backs on anybody super effectively this year.
Yeah.
They say Jaden Ott is this is the most healthy he's been all year.
Yeah.
So that if that's true, they're going to run Jaden Ott, because if Mateer plays, and I don't know the answer to this, even if it's Michael Hawkins, their run game is going to have to be better today than it's been. So you flip that, and the Oklahoma offensive line has had their struggles opening up run lanes today. So I do think turnovers in momentum games are huge, but it really this may come down to the position you played. I mean, this may come down to which offensive line has their best performance of the season today, because they're both going to need it. Texas has to play their best game of the season.
Correct.
But both offensive lines, whichever one has their best performance of the season today, is likely going to win this game, Jeff Al.
Yep, absolutely. I'll say this too real quick. It's also on the flip side, because all we've been talking about is the how dominant Texas defense has been, right? Texas defense dominates. Texas defense causes turnovers, and that may be true. But what I need Texas defense to do is I need them to be disruptors for the entire game.
Yeah.
I need you to disrupt plays. We don't need 7-yard pickups, a 3rd and 5, and then we're giving up something, and now we got it stopped on our 30-yard line. No, take the stand there. I want to see another one of those games where the team doesn't get across the 50. That's dominance. And if we want to stand a chance in this game, quite frankly, it will be the offensive line, but it's also going to have to be the dominance of the Texas defense and the dominance of the special teams like we've had prior to the Florida game. This has to be an all-encompassing. Special teams, offense, and defense have to play, and it's going to come back to the word that I've been using all season long. There has to be continuity.
Yeah.
If Texas goes down and drives and scores, we cannot allow Oklahoma to come back and answer. We need a 3 and out. If we go down, drive, and score, we get a 3 and out, we're getting ready to get the ball. We can't have something like a drop punt on special teams to tear up the continuity. We have to play all in unison. That's how we're going to get this done.
Sustained consistency.
There we go. I love it.
Yeah, and Bobby, what Tony's saying there, when Sark talks about playing complementary football, people might think that's coach speak, but it's not. It's playing good sudden change defense, playing good sudden change offense when your defense gets a turnover back for you, taking advantage of field position. Texas just has not done those things. We'll see if they can do it today, and we'll get back to it in just a second. But real quick, I want to thank our game day sponsors, our sponsors for our game day coverage here at On Texas Football. That's Von Lane Flight by Yingling, and Tito's. Tito's Handmade Vodka is a proud sponsor of the Texas Longhorns, distilled and bottled by 5th Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. Bobby, I want to focus on the Texas defense. Tony led me into it because we have talked a lot about the offensive line, and rightfully so. But the Texas defense, they had held 6 straight opponents under 100 yards going back to the Cotton Bowl last year against Ohio State. Florida ran for 94 in the first quarter last week, averaged almost 7 yards a carry. And I thought Leonga Lafau said it best on Monday. Hey, by the time we got our bearings and realized what was going on, we were in a hole. That can't happen today, Bobby, because you've been around a lot of these games. If you wait to figure out and measure the physicality, you're going to be in a world of hurt really quick.
I think that the Florida run game that they established in the first quarter against Texas was very important for Florida for the rest of the game, because it let them set the tone and set the idea of how they were going to go about attacking it, and it put Texas behind on the scoreboard. Yeah, you can't let OU do that. And to Tony's point, the defense has to go out and disrupt plays. I thought last week the problem with the Texas defense was twofold. They played soft early and let them establish the run.
Yeah.
But the bigger part to me, and what was really concerning that I think could be problematic throughout the year, I didn't see Texas get off blocks.
Yeah.
And so, Jeff, I agree with you. My concern, not so much for this game, because I don't know that OU has that level of offensive line.
Right.
But when they play a Georgia that can sustain blocks, that may look a lot like what the Florida game did.
Well, look, the thing about last week, Tony, was now the book is out, right?
Yeah.
The book, and I'm not saying the book is written. A chapter was written last week for sure. And that in the SEC, every head coach is going to say, look at this tape. If you come in there and win the physicality war against Texas, we're going to be able to establish the run this year.
Yeah.
This year. Now, let's see what the rest of these chapters are how they're going to read, how they're going to play out. But the book is somewhat written now, and I think this Texas team is going to come out physical today.
Yeah.
Now, here's the test, Tony. What if they come out physical and it's a totally different team than last week in that regard, and Oklahoma hits them early? Then you have to be able to maintain it.
Correct.
And that's going to be the big test, because after you didn't show up physically last week, if you match physicality today early and Oklahoma gets up on you, how are you going to respond? Are you going to revert to last week?
Yeah.
or are you going to keep bringing it?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. It is all about the response. But here's what I'll say in that regard. It's also about most importantly, tone setting.
Yes.
Right? Being this, like, the response is no matter what happens from the first quarter to the fourth quarter, this is our brand of football. And I think what Texas fans have been trying to figure out for these past few weeks is who is Texas, right? Like, we knew that the games that we had in between Ohio State and Florida really didn't mean that much because of what we were facing.
That's
but
right.
even in those particular games, we saw some leakage.
Yeah.
We need to understand who Texas is. And I think this is the biggest matchup that's going to show that. Are you a team that punches people in the mouth from first quarter to fourth quarter, or are you a front runner? And to be honest, when you take it back years past, that had been a problem for Texas for a while until they got that thing switched, and we thought that we had it switched now. So now we just got to go and see who you are. And to your point about the book being written, here's what I'll say about that. At the end of the day, the only way that you can tear those pages out the chapter is by hitting those people in the mouth.
That's right.
Play in and play out, staying and remaining physical, not worrying about what the score is or anything of that nature, what play happened, understanding what your job is. And again, it's going to start in the trenches. That's where it all starts. When you talk about getting off blocks, we got some of the best pass rushers in the game. I need Simmons. I got to see Simmons, right? I got to see Hero. I got to see these guys that were the front runners for Texas do the thing that we brought them in to do.
That's right.
Right? I know. And then when you talk about the offensive line, here's what we can do for them. Simplify the game. Make it to where we're not trying to be all fancy and have all these different motions and backside counters. No, look, we're going to run the zone. We're going to run power with no puller. We're going to punch you in the face. And whether we pick up 2 yards or whether we pick up 10 yards, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about establishing identity. You don't let the other team dictate who you are. You dictate to the other team how the game is going to go. That's what I'm looking for today.
100%. Hey, by the way, somebody in the chat saying the line's now moved to Texas 4.5. Jeff, I don't know. I don't know if we're seeing that anymore. I don't know if that's true. Somebody just it's Texas 2.5. Okay, all right. But it continues to move.
Yeah, that's where we were overnight. Guys, let's get to a super chat. Got a couple of super chats. Let's get to one here real quick from Chris McCluskey. Thank you for the super chat. Said it's too late to recall those corn dogs, but it's not too late to recall your pregame pick, Jerry. Need some belief today across the board. Decommit.
I sincerely hope my prediction score is wrong. But after a team doesn't come out and physically match intensity on the road, it's hard for me to pick them the week after. But I do think we're going to see a more physical team this week. And I said this yesterday morning, Tony, is the tank is where all the athletes eat, and they normally all eat together. You'll see football players in there with all the other athletes throughout the week. This week, they weren't in there.
Yeah.
So somebody circled the wagons this week.
Yeah.
Now let's see it. Let's see that circling the wagons. I know somebody said, well, you can't say that with the Sooner Schooner, but the Texans clearly circled the wagons this week.
Yeah.
This is culture test, culture week. And I hope I'm wrong, but I want to see it for the first quarter and a half. I want to see a big difference in what I saw last week in the softball. Bottom line.
I want to see them to respond the right way.
Yep.
We saw this with Florida. Right, we saw how everybody was on the DJ Lagways not playing well, the offense is not playing well. Those guys, it's only so many times that you can hear that as an athlete if you truly care, to where you say, you know what, we're taking a stand. And it's funny because ironically, I feel like this is where Texas is at. So if we were ever to have a game to where we needed to take a stand to maneuver into the season how we want to get to that college playoff, it's going to be this one.
Yeah.
I like what somebody was talking about as it pertains to the red zone. Listen, man. The 1 yard stops have to be done.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous, right? You can't drive 99 yards of grass and can't get in one play. That has to be done. Yeah. And at the end of the day, for me, I don't believe that's play calling. I believe that from that 5 yard to the goal line mark, that's just will want to. Do we want to get in?
Yeah.
Right? And it has to be a situation to where this is not just a one. It's a must.
Yes,
it's a must. This is a tone setting game, man. And I want to see what these kids are going to do.
Desperation in sports is not a bad thing. We need to see desperation today. Coaches too, by the way.
Absolutely. As long as it's not undisciplined.
Good job right there, Bobby. Absolutely.
No doubt. Bobby, we got a super chat for you. We'll get to that in just a second. But right now, let's talk about IP Vanish. Nothing Kills game day like a blackout or a blocked live stream. IPVanish VPN keeps your connection private so you can bypass restrictions and watch securely, even on public Wi-Fi. And there's more. With IPVanish Advanced, you also get a secure browser that blocks trackers, malware, and viruses, plus 1 terabyte of cloud storage to back up your files. That means your streaming always stays private, your browsing is protected, and your files are always safe. Right now, On Texas Football listeners can save 83%, just a little over $2 a month for all-in-one protection. Go to ipvanish.com/On Texas Football. That's ipvanish.com/On Texas Football, or follow the link in the description of this episode. Bobby, we've got a super chat from Rocky P. Says, Bobby posted on OTF that the Traders need to be punished when Texas loses. Make it happen, please. Texas 31, OU 17. It's that time, and OU still sucks.
I said, we need to shave one eyebrow of Jerry Hamilton if Texas wins today. Something. What do we got to do to CJ? Well, what should we do to CJ? He picked them. Hey, Matt, can you put up the predictions page for us?
What about Rod, man? We're all in this.
Well, Rod, I don't know. What do we do to Rod?
All of y'all
Look at this. Look at these, Tony Hills. Look these guys. Jerry Hamilton's eating a mayo with corn dog.
Wow. That's not punishment for him, but for the other
Yeah. But Jerry picked OU by 10.
Yeah.
Rod, OU by 7. CJ, OU by 11.
Wow.
The rest of us, Tony,
Yeah.
yourself included,
Yeah.
picked the Longhorns. You had 24-20. I had 20-17. Jeff Howe, you were 19-16. The thing about Jeff's score, Tony,
Yeah.
no team has won this game without scoring 20 points since 2009 and Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
16-13.
Yeah.
We need that Will Muschamp passion right now with
Yeah,
this Texas team.
Yeah. We
You
got.
need that Will Muschamp right now. That's what you need.
Yeah, we got to have it. Listen, I think that, again, I look at this from a standpoint, is this a game where non-black has an opportunity, right? Where we get that punt return or that kick return that cribs it. You're right, kind of reminiscent to Jordan Shipley, right? Because all it takes is a spark to get this thing changed. When you're dealing with a rivalry game, man, you're looking for sparks, man.
Yep.
Any type of spark that you can have can ignite a flame. You know, and the team that is able to do that the most, they're going to have the victory. But I do think that from a matchup standpoint, it's pretty evenly matched from talent, right? So we know that talent is not necessarily the issue. This is going to be about execution, doing the little things right, and once again, coming back to dominating in the trenches. That's the way I see this game.
Yeah, I want to get to piggyback off what Tony just said, Bobby, because when I think about the underdogs in this game that end up winning, whether it's Texas or Oklahoma, they need something really big to happen for them really early in this game. I think back to that 2013 game that Texas won, Mac Brown's last Texas OU game. Chris Whaley got that pick six off of a zone drop really early in that game, and you watch the way the Texas sideline erupted. The confidence boost and the momentum swings in this game are unlike any other game Texas plays. So we talked about hot starts. We talked about how you start. I think Texas needs a big play really early in this game.
If I do agree, they do need a big play early to spike momentum. I think that's a key to this. And Jeff, you're bringing up 2013. I can go back to the 1990s, and this game has always been that way. It's not just, this past year, year before. I mean, look, when OU beat Texas 2 years ago with the Dylan Gabriel comeback, it started with a pick on the first offensive play by by the Sooners, right?
Yep.
This game is a game of momentum. It is a game of big plays that will be remembered forever and ever. Tony, you were just describing to me a play.
Yeah.
This is Tony's now. When did you graduate? 08, 09?
07.
07.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tony graduated 07. He described in detail to me a game, his last Texas OU game, and a single play within it that he still remembers to this day. That is the kind of game this is and will always be, because it is a rivalry. Because literally, if we turn the camera, there are 600, 700, 800 Texas fans in this tailgate area right now, and there's another 500 in line for tickets to go buy fried food. This is a game that is just one of those games where everything is memorable, and you'll remember it for forever. But momentum is key. Out of the gate.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, look, I mean, this is we talked about one of the questions, Tony, was who's a player that could have a big play, who could have a big game today, could be the difference in the game. And you just look for the young kids who are in their first game and could have an impact in this game.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Texas defense. It's a Grayson Littleton. It's a Ty Anthony Smith, right? Those guys who are proven to be playmakers. Grayson Littleton jars the ball, the helmet on the ball, first play last week, the ball that bounced Texas' way.
Right.
Who are those young guys who are so jacked up for this first time to play in this game? It doesn't mean Grayson Littleton grew up wanting to play in this game, but they feel it now. Who's going to be that young guy for Texas that makes a big play and it's a memorable play? I got it being Grayson Littleton this week or Ty Anthony Smith. A lot of people pick Ty Anthony Smith, but I'll tell you this, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the game, we need to look up and say this guy had a really good game.
Yeah.
It's Trey Wisner, because that
Absolutely.
means you ran the ball well enough to be in third and shorts and third and mediums.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, listen, it's never going to change for me. And I know I might sound like a broken clock, but you know what? That's fine. I need these guys that are up front. I need them to be the players of the game. I need us when we come out of this game to say, if this is the O-line that we're going to see moving forward, we're going to be okay. That needs to be what we're seeing in this game. Another thing I'll say is this. I need the leaders to lead.
Yeah.
Right? I need the leaders to lead. Listen, when that play needs to be made, make the play. When we got to have that stop, make the stop. When we got to have that block that springs Trey Wisner, right? Or that block that gives Arch a little bit more time to connect on those deep balls that we've had. Because we've had guys open.
Yes.
We just haven't connected.
Yes.
Even in the Florida game where we had the counter trap pass. It's literally a game of inches, right? We get the ball blocked. Arch slides a little bit too far to the right. He gets hit. The ball's overthrown. It's those type of plays that we just can't have. Everything has to be on point. And at the end of the day, I need not only the leaders to lead, but I need this whole team to take this game on their shoulders.
Yeah.
This has to be a team effort. We're going to need every single person.
All right, guys, we got one more super chat to get to, but before we do that, I want to thank the sponsors for our game day coverage one more time here at On Texas Football. That's Von Lane, Flight by Yingling, and Tito's. Tito's Handmade Vodka is a proud sponsor of the Texas Longhorns, distilled and bottled by Fifth Generation Incorporated, Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume. Savor responsibly. We've got one more super chat to get to. Justin Yarborough says, let's go, fellas. Win the possession battle, win the turnover battle, and cut the penalties down. Light there, you know what up, and hook them. Tony, get them fired up. So Justin Yarborough, thank you for the super chat. Wants Tony to get him fired up. Jerry, that sounds easier said than done in a lot of ways. Winning the turnover battle, specifically, you guys mentioned a minute ago, cutting down on penalties. That's just kind of where this team has been this year. It would be nice to see, but I've got to see them do it before I actually believe it'll happen.
Tony, to this question.
Yeah.
A team that has been undisciplined all season. Can you flip the switch in a week?
I'll say this. I get what you're saying with that question. And the answer is it depends.
Right.
Right. It truly does depend. Because, look, again, your question's been answered last week.
Yep.
Right? Like, we saw Florida play a more disciplined type of game. Right? So it can be done. Now, as it pertains to Texas, we're going to have to see.
It has to
I
be.
know we all want that to happen, but at the end of the day, those players are the ones that have to make sure that they're locked in on understand the game plan. And I will say this too, right? Let's not absolve the coaching.
No.
Maybe we have to simplify things, right? Maybe there's a lack of experience in certain areas to where, you know what, we just play a simplistic game and let these guys play with their hair cut off because they're not, or their hair on fire because they're not having to think so much.
Yeah.
Right? I know for me, right, the best offenses that I've been in are the ones that are simplistic to understand. I know we have all of these different ways that we want to stop a run, but the best way that I've seen a run stop is to be disruptive. The best way I've seen people run the ball is to lean heavy on them until they quit, right? It's a war of attrition. That's the best offenses that I've seen. That's what happened to us.
I got a question for Tony real quick, Jeff. Colt McCoy, and you went up against Brent Venables.
Yes.
Colt McCoy said he was as difficult to go up against as anybody because he brought so many blitzes from so many different places.
Correct.
And Brent Venables has watched the Texas offensive line struggle.
Yeah.
And some people are like, oh, just sit back and zone and make Arch make the right read. No. That ain't Brent Venables isn't doing that today, right? That's like asking Sark not to throw it deep. No chance.
Correct.
He's going to bring the blitz from everywhere today.
Yeah.
What was that like as an offensive lineman going up against Venables?
Yeah, our job is to make sure that we protect the pocket. So however the 5 come, the most dangerous 5 is the offensive line. When you start looking at blitzes, those are back swings and side adjustments. That becomes the quarterback's responsibility to understand where we're going. That's the mic identification, what we were talking about earlier. The center sets the tone for how we identify defenses. Once we have that, if there's some type of switch that we need to make, we can. But all we do as an offensive line is set the mic identification and to make sure that we know where the most dangerous 5 are coming from. Yeah. We cannot give up A-gap blitzes. No. We cannot give up pressure in the A-gap. No. We cannot do it. No. So as long as we're doing that, you want to know what happens, Jerry? You start hitting those side adjustments, right? Big plays start happening. When those big plays start happening and the quarterback is hitting side adjustments, you want to know what defenses do? They get put on their heels and they stop blitzing. That's right. So that's how you answer.
Yeah.
Hey, look at things we get to do at things like this Texas event is to get to meet people that are out here. What are you saying, ladies? All right, beat OU. There we go. Good stuff. Thank y'all for coming up. Seriously, thanks. Appreciate y'all. One of the great things about coming out to these events, Tony and Jerry and Jeff, you're back there in Austin. We get to meet folks from every walk of life that are Longhorn fans. I just met Steve Smith. I was in school with him. I didn't know him in school, but, you meet him. And, Tony, I'm sure you're same way. It's just fun. Yeah. It's just fun coming out here, and that's one of the reasons why we do these live remotes, to get out and see people and let them know that we're out here and available. But Alito Horn was here as well. I mean, there's several guys that come out. Whenever you come out to these, and if you happen to see us, please stop by and say hello at any time. In all seriousness, thank you.
All right, guys, we will wrap it up here in just a second. Once again, want to thank our sponsors for the Tailgate Show. Hargrove Roofing, our lead sponsor. Also want to thank IP Vanish, Von Lane, Flight by Yingling, and Tito's Handmade Vodka. Bobby, I'll start with you. Want to get the final thoughts from the crew. I'll start with you, and you can go on to Jerry and Tony thereafter. Your final thoughts, Bobby, before kickoff.
Yeah, for my final thoughts is this. I think that this is going to be a very, very physical game, like extremely physical. And I would expect and do expect both Arch Manning and John Mateer to have some scars on them after today. Enough so that it's possible both quarterbacks play.
Yeah. On both sides.
I mean, look. Sides. Florida had 6 sacks on Arch Manning. Yep. Florida's pass rush is not OU's. OU's is a superior pass rush.
Correct.
Arch had to go to the tent in the first half of the Texas game. Yeah. I'm not calling for a Texas player to get injured. I don't want that to happen. Yeah. I'm saying that you better be ready for it, and I'm telling you right now, OU on their side better be ready to go to Michael Hawkins if Mateer gets missed. So I would say my last thought. We're sitting here talking about this game forever. Wouldn't it be something if this game is decided by who has the better backup quarterback?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's been decided by that many times before.
Yep.
My final thought is Tony Hill's brought the goods today, Matt. Jeff, we started this show off with a corn dog with mayo, and we're ending it with oatmeal cream pie. Homemade.
Wow.
Oatmeal cream pie from the Hills family.
Hey, man, shout out to my baby, man. She made this. Here we go.
I'm insanely jealous right now.
Really good.
I already had one, Jeff. And when I tell you it was awesome, it was awesome.
Really good.
It was, she's no preservatives, apparently.
Absolutely. Brought them in an ice bag.
All right, guys. Jeff, go ahead, man. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll Bobby, I'll let you sign it up. But before we do that, again, I want to thank all of our sponsors here. Reminder, we got the Watch With Us starting at 2:30. That's Aaron Hogan hosting it, and all the OTF crew will be circulating throughout the game. And then our post-game show immediately after the game, that'll be Bobby and Rod Babers anchoring our coverage of the post-game show. So we will keep you locked in on Texas OU all day here on the On Texas Football YouTube channel. Also got you covered over at OnTexasFootball.com. Bobby, before you sign off, I'll just say the years I've been coming to this game, watching this game, the team that wins the game is usually the one that shows up ready for a fist fight, hoping that a football game breaks out. That's what I'm looking for Texas today.
rock fight. Rock fight. You're right, Jeff. Fist fight, rock fight, however you want to put it. The one that goes up there and tries to do a little love tap at the line of scrimmage, they get rolled over every time.
Hey, look, the Texas OU rivalry, it doesn't stop at football. Kelvin Sampson and Rick Barnes used to have rock fights on the basketball court.
Yep.
It's not just one sport. It's in every sport in this series, in this rivalry, and that's what it's got to be. Hey, Rick Barnes and Kelvin Sampson, they used to be the most physical basketball games you'd see in college basketball.
Yeah.
It carries over to every sport, Jeff Howe, and it's got to be ultra physical. This has to be Texas' most physical game of the season, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's what I'll say. Here's the end of this. Man, look, as a player in this game, I go back to remembering where I came from to get here.
Yeah.
I go back to understanding the importance of being able to have a scholarship to better my life. And so for me, it was very simplistic. I'm going to give everything I got until the end of this game, and I'm not going to leave anything on the field because I'm not only representing the state of Texas.
Yep.
I'm not only representing the fan base. Hell, I'm representing my last name.
Yep.
And your resume is on film. So at the end of the day, you can talk about who you are. You can talk about what you would do. But at the end of the day, the big eye in the sky don't lie. And we're going to be able to turn on the film, and we will know by the end of this which team was talking about something and which team was about that action.
Hey,
period.
Tony, let me.
No. Texas! 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 OU! Now you can ask.
If you've been playing in that game last week,
Oh, man.
would you got a call from Mama?
No. I'm going to tell you why I want to get a call, because I would have went nuts on the sideline. Again, the big eye in the sky don't lie.
Yeah.
If you go back and watch some of them old films, when you see me going nuts, it's because I know we're not playing to our standard. We're allowing somebody else to take food off our plate and to dictate how we do things, and that ain't going down here.
Yep.
So wake your ass up and let's go do what we need to do. That's how I am.
Time to roll.
All right. There you go, Jeff. You ready now?
Yep.
Jeff, you want to suit up?
I'm ready to run through the brick wall here in my office. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening. Again, don't forget we got the Watch With Us and the post-game show coming up. For Bobby, for Jerry, for Tony, for Matthew, for CJ Vogel, who's running around the fairground somewhere, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Just remember, Bobby, I'll let you finish it. It is 11:45 a.m.
And OU sucks. Book 'em.
Book 'em.